1998's Metal Gear Solid is an action-adventure stealth game written, directed, and produced by the god of cinematic storytelling in video games, Hideo Kojima. Considered one of the most important video games of all time and one that popularized the stealth genre, Metal Gear Solid was one of the staple games played at my friends' houses throughout middle school. You know what else I learned in middle school? What? No, the hero's journey. So in this totally educational video, I'm going to take you on a trip down memory lane as I attempt to beat Metal Gear Solid on a DDR pad to the pacing of the hero's journey. I started my journey expecting to only do easy difficulty, as aside from obvious controller choices, I haven't even fully played the game in almost 15 years. At the start area, we need to wait for this elevator to come down, so naturally, I get spotted by someone as soon as the elevator shows up, so I can show off my sick evasion skills. I play footsie with a sleeping guard in order to enter the hangar. Once there, I grab the thermal goggles and resort to the age-old tradition of avoiding bad people by hiding in a vent. I head to the B1 floor and enter the first major combat event. The camera in this encounter is at an abnormal angle, which makes aiming just a bit difficult, but standing in the uppermost corner of the room to shoot works wonders. Standing here lets me aim left and down, so I can just keep spamming square. After clearing the guards out, we watch a major plot point. Booty. I head into the B2 armory with my new level 1 keycard to blow up some walls and find out that trapdoors are visible with thermal goggles. It's not important to the story, but why? I enter the room with the Arms Tech president and begin the first boss battle of the game against Revolver Ocelot. Catching him as he's reloading is the way to go here, and I defeat Ocelot after a lengthy game of Ring Around the Rosie. After Ocelot realizes he'll never win a game of patty cake, I Whoa, wait. Did you guys see that? Hold on. Okay, so let's reverse that a little bit. Okay, yeah, grab this and move it over here. Go a little bit further back, and then we take that. Enhance and rotate this a little bit. Borrow this little doohickey for a bit. Plop it here. Move these over, and perfect. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Now then, I contact Meryl using the codec on the back of the CD case. As I waited for the door to open, I grabbed some items and thought about it and decided that I want to get the bad ending on easy, the good ending on normal, any ending on hard mode, and then attempt to go for the big boss ranking on expert. After being fascinated by this specimen of advanced intelligence and stealth detection... Is this man on oh, he's reading the... Wait, what? I fail to maintain a proper social distance, but I start my practice as a chiropractor. Past the hangar door is the well-known laser gas room, where triggering the lasers gases the room, and Snake goes bleh. The thermal goggles that I picked up earlier lets me inch forward so I can face the next boss, a tank. Vulcan Raven talks a big game here, but we never even actually see him, and so we just throw some grenades at his gunners and collect the next keycard from their dead body. Next up, I head to B1 and get the Nikita launcher, then go to B2 to disable the electrical flooring. Eventually. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ah! No! What? There's a computer there? The next boss, the Cyborg Ninja, has some high mobility, which is the hardest thing to work with in this fight, as his constant flipping and kicking had me overestimating his attack range and playing very cautiously. After saving Otacon, I head upstairs to find Meryl, who's easily identifiable as...
She had such a cute way of walking.
This wasn't her. Hold on, let's... What? I evade the guards and eventually find Meryl and follow her into the bathroom, where she changes out of her guard uniform and I change into my Pikachu onesie, and we make our way together to Psycho Mantis's room. Anyone who's played Metal Gear Solid knows this fight. Mantis reads your mind, and the trick is to swap controller ports. However, I only have one DDR pad, but there is a failsafe built into the game that requires you to die twice. This failsafe is most likely under the assumption that if a person plays this game and they don't have a second working controller port, they don't get soft-locked by the game. After dying twice, Campbell will tell you on the codec that you need to break Mantis's busts in the upper corners of the room. After doing this, you can shoot Mantis like normal and he goes down. Meryl disses Mantis here, and then karmic retribution occurs and Meryl gets wrecked. We now have to backtrack all the way to the B2 armory to pick up the MGS1's sniper rifle, as we won't be able to fight naturally without it. After a lot of running and a well-timed realization later... Ah, no! Wait, fuck! The MGS1 has now been acquired. With the MGS1 and some diazepam, we begin a drug-fueled sniper fight. Where is she? Snake's natural aim stability is absolute trash, so the diazepam helps us with our aiming. The final shot lands on Wolf right as the diazepam wears off, and then we get captured. After an uncomfortably loud gulp from the Queen Curd... We're given a fourth wall-breaking tutorial of the torture sequence, but we only focus on one part of it, and give up immediately, having been tortured by them all talking amongst themselves for the last hour in front of me. The guard runs away to go poop, giving enough time for Otacon to show up with a well-balanced breakfast that every growing boy needs, a bottle of ketchup and some sardines. Any Metal Gear Solid player knows what's next. Prone by the door, use the ketchup, murder the serial pooper, and grab Snake's gear. I go play Minesweeper with my body before heading back to where I fought Wolf.
Does that mean I can go this way? Nope, that does not mean I can go this way.
However, I did delay my adventure a tiny bit to get some revenge.
Look at that! Look at that pupper just being so happy with me. I'm not gonna punch the puppy, I'm not a savage.
I enter into Com Tower A and complete the tower like a first-time newbie would, getting teabagged by a genome soldier near the top.
Stopped by a beam. Did he just teabag me?
After the way forward gets hit by missiles, I try to call Master Miller for moral support, but I guess he went out for milk because he didn't answer and he's definitely not flying a Russian gunship right now. I begin the infamous rappel sequence and realize my controller folly. Prone isn't needed for many parts of this run, so I place the cross button on a second button layout along with the L1 and L2 menu. However, jumping over these metal beams in the rappel sequence uses cross, so my sequence required fancy footwork, needing to press 2 buttons in order to hit X, and then go back to button 1 layout to steer Snake around the steam. After finishing the rappel sequence, there are 3 guards on the end of a long walkway, and in my own words,
I'm not about to fight a sniper battle against that!
So I hide and shoot them all with Nikita missiles, and then run past to get the Stinger launcher. We find Otacon and make our way to the top of Com Tower B to fight Liquid in the Hind D. Radar makes this fight pretty easy, as we just need to position ourselves on the other side of this structure, and the Hind will have a hard time hitting us. I take down the Hind, descend Com Tower B, and get told by the elevator we are chonk as fuck. Huh? Just kidding. After Otacon's haunting codec face,
Look out, Snake!
It turns out that there are 4 invisible heavy boys with me. I whip out the FAMAS and take out 3 of them before popping the last guy's neck. Entering the snowfield, I take on the form of Kirby and begin the second wolf fight. You've already seen how averse I am to the PSG-1, so I use the Nikita missiles instead.
Are you here? You are here. Hi. Meow. What? Oh, I'm just playing Snake at this. Oh. I hate how easy of a joke that was. I don't know, man. I'd be really pissed off if I was just like the world's greatest sniper and I got beat down by a rocket launcher.
Wolf is clearly faking her death here or something because she is lung shot from bullet wounds, but it doesn't matter. We won, she lost, and as such, we need to throw her a party. Otacon is afraid of loud noises, so he covers his ears as we prepare the confetti gun and... It's now time for Disc 2. The first order of business, I take way too long to throw a guard into molten metal and head over to the cargo elevator. This elevator sequence has 3 very enthusiastic guards. The guards can either be killed or launched over the railing, so I punch-kick my way to victory. On the elevator ride down, Master Miller will call us on the codec, and he'll begin doing detective work while we head towards the fight with Vulcan Raven. Raven can be easily looped using a Nikita right around the corner, and after he's hit, the iframes that he has extend to his bullets, so you can just keep wiggling more rockets into his face until he becomes a buffet for his birdies. The difficulties ahead didn't really dawn on me until I entered the room Metal Gear Rex was housed in and remembered my true enemies here. Ladders and Otacon calling me every other step. The only saving grace was the sound effect of losing the PAL key here absolutely killed me.
Key fell in the drainage ditch.
It was just somebody in a microphone going.
I turn in the PAL key's normal, frozen, and hot forms as I then literally meet the mentor, as the end of the game starts with Snake's mentor, Master Miller, revealing that I was talking to Liquid the whole time.
Dun dun dun.
Otacon hackermans the door open and I go off to fight Liquid as he pilots Metal Gear Rex. First phase was actually easy, as if you're within a certain distance of Rex, it only cycles between a laser and the machine guns, but the guns don't actually cross paths, so you won't get hit by them. We get saved by Gray Fox, who then loses the ability to win a clapping contest and then becomes another IHOP staple.
Pancakes!
Thankfully, he destroys Rex's ray dome beforehand, which forces Liquid to open the cockpit of Rex so that he can see us. This leads us into phase 2, which is slightly more difficult, but thanks to the cockpit being open, we have a much larger target for us to shoot at. The perfect distance takes a little bit of time to find again to ensure that we're not shot at by rockets or stomped on. Eventually, the sweet spot is found to make Liquid keep rotating between guns and laser again, and Rex is destroyed right as I'm one hit away from death. After a bunch of red-tinted dialogue, we're in the boss fight against Liquid himself, and this fight sucked. Every third movement that Liquid makes, he dodges your attacks and throws a kick. You know that this is coming when he runs to one of the corners instead of staying on the inside section of Rex. You can fake him into dodging by throwing a punch and then running away or ducking underneath the kick. Occasionally he'll also tackle, and dodging to the side is, well, it's easy for smart and sophisticated people, of which I'm only sophisticated. As Liquid's health drops, he punches back, and eventually he'll do a 3-hit combo of his own. I do know of the punch lock strat, but I'm really bad about keeping a beat, which is odd as I play DDR just fine, so while I do get a few chains on Liquid, a dozen deaths was what it took for me to kick Liquid off of Rex.
Whoa! 0.53 seconds!
Starting the escape sequence, I grab a couple of rations and then hop into the car with Otacon as we drive off. Rule of thumb, if there's a barrel, shoot it. After an awful third-person shootout with Liquid, we defeat him, deny him a final high five, and easy difficulty's done. I started normal difficulty with 3 new button layouts, but some conflicts caused an early death in the prison gunfight, and another when I accidentally backed up into a pillar in the Ocelot fight. Needless to say, the results were explosive. The Cyborg Ninja's kick attack has a significantly longer range, which makes dodging it more difficult this time around. Thankfully, we learned from our easy run that after every kick sequence, he'll backflip, and we use this to our advantage, only dying twice. The final 3 hits of this fight can be dealt from afar using a gun without consequence. Approaching Psycho Mantis, my controller scheme was changed so that double tapping the square button makes it think that I'm actually pressing the square button with my second controller. This allows me to fight Mantis without needing to die twice. The only major issue happens when Mantis moves while he's invisible, but as long as he ends up in one of these 3 locations, it's pretty easy to stand in the center, aim when he becomes visible, and just shoot until Mantis dies. Before Sniper Wolf 1's room, I punch Meryl and then hide in a cardboard box that I picked up. After doing this, she'll tell one of the wolves to urinate on the box, which makes the angry wolves less bitey. Wouldn't you know it, Snake is finally good with dogs! I go grab the PSG-1, and then we start the fight with Sniper Wolf. There was a lot of save state mismanagement here by me, which caused me to have to redo this fight so many times, which hurts my heart because the first time that I faced Wolf in this run, it was so easy. But when it comes to the final fight that I went with, I don't know what I did to wrong Wolf in a past life. But she took it out on me here hard. At times, she was able to shoot me before I was even able to aim down sights again. I thankfully beat her with the last round of my PSG-1 and then saved over 3 different file slots so I would never have to do this fight again on normal. I chose to save Meryl this run since we saved Otacon last run. However, in the torture, single tapping circle was not fast enough, and attempting to mash in the fetal position sometimes caused me to hit the button that moves me to a previous button layout. To make matters worse, trying to tap while alternating with both feet wasn't giving the pad time to tell the game that I let go of circle, so it just assumed that I was holding the button down the whole time. I almost resigned myself to using the keyboard when I had a light bulb moment. Sitting in the center of the pad, I can alternate hitting the circle button at the expense of an intense ab workout.
Want me to go on?
No!
Can you take one more?
No!
I live through the torture and escape after tossing the bomb. I stop off at the gas hallway to get the body armor and then make my way to Com Tower A where I came prepared. I had grabbed some extra stun grenades just in case, and I was ready for a couple of new tricks that I didn't make use of on the easy difficulty. For starters, before you enter this door, you can actually throw a grenade through and start the alert sequence, but skip the cutscene of guards running at you, which saves a couple of seconds. Making my way up the tower, periodically throwing stun grenades, we come face to face with a frozen shut door on floor 9. A streamer named Boba Witch accidentally found this skip, and it has since been named the Boba Skip by the Metal Gear Solid community, and Kevin by Boba herself. By aligning Snake with the far left side of the door and having the camera face at a certain angle, overcooking a chaff grenade or getting shot will make Snake's hitbox hit the door trigger and push him through, which will skip the rappel sequence and prevent the guards across the walkway from spawning. I perform Kevin and continue on relatively unscathed until I hit the elevator, where I had an untimely death due to user error, where apparently a certain someone forgot to equip the FAMAS until they were almost dead. Nothing of note happens until the Rex fight, where 6 deaths occur because the guns no longer cross paths. I eventually realized I shouldn't be thinking like an optimal speedrunner. I need to abuse Rex the way that he's been abusing my controller handicap. Rockets have a minimum travel distance, so if I've run far enough away to force rockets and then run back inside range, I can safely shoot Rex.
Can I eat it?
I wish I could say the liquid fight was easier, but I don't want to lie. Even nature wanted me to give up as the power went out during this fight. I spent a majority of my time trying to punch lock liquid and resetting if I failed to do so. One thing that I had noticed in the easy playthrough is that Snake naturally turns in a clockwise motion. If he faces right and you press left, he will curve down to face left. From here, if you press right, he will curve upwards to then face right. I use this to throw liquid into a straight line to start the punch lock. This took 107 resets, and while this does sound incredibly depressing, what I actually learned was invaluable later on. My final controller layout was made to do the escape in first person, so this was done perfectly. Normal mode was complete with a downgrade to Tarantula ranking, although if I'm being real, Liquid alone put me in last place. The next day, I was more than ready to start hard difficulty. I know where my previous pitfalls were with alerts and wasted rations, and I know where I need to go for the most part. And while the lack of minimap and a lower health pool are worrisome, keeping in mind my previous mistakes should make those issues inconsequential. The first area without a radar took a bit of figuring out. This first guard needs to have his path messed with, otherwise he'll show up in the perfect spot when the elevator finally comes down. I found that if I flip him and wait for the other guard to go away, I can just flip this guard again, which will stun him, and from here, I can do the usual truck shenanigans and the elevator will be clear. I take the top vent path so I can grab the thermal goggles on the way downstairs. Everything from here was uneventful until we come to my old nemesis, Gray Fox. Gray Fox's attack speed is even faster, but I've learned a thing or two from him. If you're on the other side of this cubicle wall, he'll hop over to a static location and give you a free hit. His kick flurries come in 2 flavors, immediate and chase. After the second kick, his body will move pretty far forward and it allows for free hits. If you keep on catching him when he does the ground stomp, or if you stay too close to him, he'll sometimes do a combo, but attacking him and then retreating avoids this. Here's how the fight started, and here's how the fight ended. We learned something.
Flawless victory.
I came to the Psycho Mantis fight prepared with thermal goggles and a controller layout fully simulating a controller in port 2. The thermals let me see where in the triangle of doom he was ahead of time, and this made quick work of him. After I memed Sniper Wolf with the weapon glitch and then soft lock, I attempt to fight her the normal way. She thankfully follows a pattern that I saw in my normal run. If I ever get shot by her, I would get up and hide on the side and wait for her to run behind that column. This seemed to reset her aggro, and then it gave me enough time to kill her without too much damage. The rappel sequence was voted on by my chat, but this wasn't too hard to just spam X with my newly implemented hold circle to X that I put into anti-micro. The hind was pretty simple, aside from trying to find where to stand when he does the end fight wipe mechanic, as this changes per difficulty. Rex was a cakewalk with what I had learned about rocket ranges, and Liquid. Oh, Liquid.
Come on.
As it turns out, the rate of single punches to lock Liquid down goes to the tune of 165 beats per minute. So I whipped out a metronome app to tap along to, and I demolish Liquid and finish hard mode with my buddy Otacon once again and prepare for extreme mode. Pour one out for the first 6 bosses because Ocelot the Tank, the Cyborg Ninja, Psycho Mantis, the Hind, and Wolf 1 will not be making a comeback. In extreme difficulty, I decided that I would use any glitches and skips that I could so I could get the coveted big boss ranking. I enter into the hangar and then tap on the canted tank to lure the nearby guard away from looking at the elevator. From here, we do skip number 1. By wiggling partway into the vent, looking up, and then standing while letting go of the first-person view button, the game will shove Snake's hitbox into the wall behind him. This will allow me to run to the trigger for the level 6 door nearby. The game now thinks that I've beaten the first wolf fight and I'm ready to be tortured. I'm not ready to be tortured, so I submit immediately. As I attempt to escape from the catch-up fight, I don't trigger an alert for some reason, which excites me because this means that I could get spotted an additional time later on if I get sloppy and still get the big boss ranking. After escaping, I make a slight detour. I felt like I needed a bit of extra health to take another hit, so after getting the PSG1 from the armory, I took a detour to Ocelot's room. I then get the health from the tank, go back outside and grab all the grenades with Sleepy Tank, and then cross the electrical floor to get another health boost from the ninja before continuing on. Kevin was done during the tower ascent, and then the weapon glitch was performed. Mentioning the weapon glitch a couple times now, for those who don't know, if Snake takes damage while prone and unequips an item using L1, he'll be able to see in first person. By then looking down and spamming R1 when you have the chaff grenade equipped, the game will think that you have a chaff out when you run around with any other weapon equipped. This will bypass the Otacon cutscene, as that cutscene expects you to be equipped with any weapon other than the stinger past the trigger point. After going up to where the hind is and then coming back down, we're blocked by 2 stacks of boxes. If you have no weapon equipped, a specific frame of Snake's run animation lets him run on top of the boxes, which we then use to jump down the comm tower and skip the 4 Invisibros in the elevator. Another fun use of the weapon glitch is Sniper Wolf's second fight. Wolf's AI in both of her fights refuses to let you run across a specific trigger point. However, it doesn't expect you to be able to move with the PSG1 as it forces you prone. The weapon glitch ignores this, and so here the game assumes that if you've passed this trigger point, then you clearly killed her. So repeat after me. I clearly killed her. The first guard here has binocular vision, so he needs to die. I throw a stun grenade back in the staircase, as stun grenades knock out all enemies that are on the current map, but if it's behind a closed door, then it won't cause an alert. I knock out the guard so I can run up and advertise my chiropractor practice.
There.
Chiropractice? This next guard is also killed by speedrunners using a grenade, but that timing is dangerous for me on the DDR pad. But I have found out that when getting near the staircase, it manipulates the guard's pathing to come back upstairs briefly, so I can simply flip him and run past to the door. Before the upcoming elevator fight, I take a detour to go pick up the body armor near the gun turrets. I've already used my ration at this point, and my health is well below half, so I was already resigned to this being a scuffed run, but I figured I'd give it the good old college try. Even with the body armor equipped, I can only get hit twice. I also can't reliably animation cancel my throw, so I needed an alternative. When guards are affected by a stun grenade, you can still throw or choke them out if they're in mid-animation. So I throw a stun grenade and break one guard's neck, throw another grenade, and throw the second guard over the edge before finally breaking the last guard's neck with a sliver of health left. The camera between elevators here is too sketchy, so I used chaff grenades every time I had to pass by it, just in case. The final non-boss hurdle is the guard on the top floor with Rex. I can't spam R1 fast enough to mask my footsteps, so all 3 PAL key attempts, I wait for the guard to walk far enough away when I'm approaching, and then I wait behind this wall to throw him when I'm out of his line of sight when I want to leave. When first losing the PAL key, I run towards Rex and throw a stun grenade to run past this guard. For those curious, I waited for the rat to not be near the water so I didn't risk losing my last bit of health before the Rex fight, which would heal me to full. Thanks to my rockets discovery from previous playthroughs, Rex only hit me once in each phase. The liquid fight has one downside on expert. Snake no longer hangs off the edge, he just falls. So no mistaken movements and no getting kicked off by liquid. Tapping at 165 beats per minute works wonders, but my pad wasn't having any of my tapping for the final kick, so a couple of close calls occur before liquid finally gets launched. The escape sequence is the last thing in my way. Hiding behind the getaway car, I wait until I see Otacon in the top corner and run to the right to flip the closest guard. As soon as Otacon has the car running, I break my final neck and hop onto the gun and start to steer it towards any barrels that I see. After the last set of barrels, I aim around this spot right here so that we can hit the next checkpoint and immediately start hitting a guard. 7 to 8 hits kills each guard here, so I dispatch them as fast as I can and we begin the last liquid fight.
Here we go.
I don't know if this is how Liquid actually works, but this was the pattern that I had noticed. Liquid doesn't like getting a gun pointed at him, so he'll swerve left and right continuously, which doesn't let you get really many good chances to hit him. If you bait him out by pretending that you're not interested for a split second too long, he'll stop swerving and you can swing on over to shoot him. Any phase after this is just shooting at him until you can deal enough damage. Now let's sit here and reminisce about all the fun times we had.
Liquid! Liquid!
Liquid!
Liquid!
Liquid!
Liquid!
Liquid!
Liquid! Liquid! Yikes! Ah!
And now I can rejoice because I've defeated Liquid on Expert and I am now the proud owner of the Big Boss ranking using a DDR pad.
Big Boss!
The fistfight with Liquid on top of Rex took a couple of save state loads, so it was technically a segmented victory, but I do plan on attempting this as a single segment offline to submit it as a speedrun, so be on the lookout for that here on my channel. Until then, check out my other videos on the channel and come hang out with me on Twitch as I attempt the next game piloted on a DDR pad. As the video ends, here's some bonus footage for you on the way out.
Your niece was kind of annoying, dude. If Sniper Wolf actually knew her, she still would have shot her. Out in the mall, shot. Watching a movie, shot. Bridal shower, shot. Bar, shot. And then shot. I can breathe! I can fight! I don't think I can actually pull that glitch off with a DDR pad.